Hello everyone, I'm HexDSL, and today we're going to talk about some Scrivener stuff that I found kind of interesting and not particularly well explained. So, I write books, as some of you may know. If you go to hexdsl.com, you can click on the My Books section or go to hexdsl.com/my-books, and you'll end up on this page here where I say I write books. And you go to the link here and you will find my books. They're available on Amazon, but I prefer itch as my point of sale if people are interested. And here they are. Now, there are 6 books here. I'm currently working on 2 books kind of simultaneously. My sci-fi universe denouement, there's 2 books. There's these 2 books here plus a short story series. I'm also working on the 3rd in the denouement series, as well as the 2nd volume of shorter stories, which is like more of a connected volume, if we're honest. Anyway, that's beside the point. You may or may not be interested in that. And what I wanted to do was, now I write in Scrivener at the moment. It's worth saying I've been writing in Scrivener for a while now. What I wanted to do was potentially have a collected volume where I take all the denouement stuff. Denouement is not a word, I've made that up for the record. So I take all the denouement themed books and denouement themed books, that's really hard to say fast, and I put them into one volume and I get them printed on Amazon. So if people want, they can have one monumental tome which contains everything from the denouement. Now, I'm not saying I'm done with it permanently, but I feel when I've written my current writings, I'm kind of at the point where I'm at the end of what I want to do with that for now, and I may revisit it from a different angle later in time, but these characters are essentially finished, if any characters can be finished. So let's have a look in Scrivener and figure out how we do that. Now, where is Scrivener? There's Scrivener. So the way I've done it, the way I found to do it, and this is my Scrivener setup. Your Scrivener may look differently. All the tips here are going to work in the Windows version of Scrivener as well, but this is the Mac version. Also, I've just realised I'm a little bit off the screen there. Let's go. Oh, there you go. There you go. Right on the screen there. There we go. Here's what I've done. I've put each book in its own folder here in Scrivener, right? So each book is in its own folder. I've right clicked and changed the icon of that folder. So there's the main manuscript there, and there's one folder for every book. Inside that folder is another folder containing each individual chapter. Now, as you probably see, some chapters have multiple parts, some chapters have one part, and depending how you structure your output, it's going to look differently. I assume you know the basics of Scrivener here. But what happens when you export a manuscript with multiple books in? We'll get to that shortly. So in this case, my current workings here is these are the 3 finished denouement titles. I can't say that word; it's ridiculous. These are the 3 finished titles, which are the green dots. I've just used the color coding system, and the red is my work in progress. Now that's the tale, the 2nd part of denouement. Tales from the Denouement. Oh my god, I'm going to stop trying. The 2nd part of my short story series is the first one there, 2.6 I've called it, and then number 3 is the next denouement novel. I'm going to stop doing it. And then there's something I've had an idea called Epistles, where I'm going to do some interviews with characters. There's like an end that's only available in the large collected volume. Only available. They'll all be available on itch always, but the only way to get them in print will be part of the massive collected volume. So these here, now you can see the sizes of them here, and you can see the short story there, which is Week, which was already released, and there's my web browser. That's this one here, and then Echoes of the Goddess was the tagline, the post-release line for the first denouement book. Was called Echoes of the Goddess after release, just so I can keep tabs of which one I'm talking about. In Her We Trust is book 2, and they're reflected as 1, 2, and then 2.5 for the short story. Now 2.6 is the next short story, and then 3 is the denouement 3, obviously, and then 3.5 is sort of a bookend thing. Now, by doing it like this and by color coding it, I can keep track of my documents fine, and I like having them all in one document because it means that I can flip back and forth, and obviously Scrivener's got multi-window stuff. So if I'm writing in something in the current one that I'm working on, which is of Gods and Vampires, I can use the split screen function and check another document and check another file without any problems. And once you get savvy with Scrivener, it really is a very good way of working. By structuring it as again, let me go my structure again. Each folder under the heading here, under the main manuscript, represents a novel, and each novel here is represented by its own folder, and then there is it inside. So it's no different to really working with individual files per novel. I've just sort of got a different header point, entry point, I suppose is the word. And again, there's multiple for each file here represents a scene, and they are delineated by little stars depending on how you set up your Scrivener to export. I like having classical chapter breaks, classical scene breaks, where I denote it with stars rather than a blank line, or sometimes people like literally just like put like 5 blank lines. I've seen all sorts of weird stuff. Dune is the weirdest one. There's just a blank line when there's a chapter break, when there's a scene break. I'm like, okay. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's a whole different topic. You can see here, I've set to show me the words in each chapter. Again, so if I'm looking in this view, these are the words in each chapter. And then I can also go into there and find out how many words there are per file, which is fine. And I try and keep my chapter lengths. I'm getting better as I've been writing more at keeping chapter length reasonable, but I've been very bad historically. But I am, if you look in my current writing, which is 2.6, you'll see here each mission is about 11,000 words. But this is a weird one because I wanted each mission to be sort of its own standalone thing. So I went another layer in this one. So in this one, I've got my mission files, and each mission has got, it's like its own sub-book, which looks a bit weird when you actually look at it in structure. But if you're just looking at this, it looks fine. But if you're looking at it in the whole here, it does look a bit weird. It looks far too nested. But the weird thing is, Scrivener lets this work, and we'll talk about that next. So, and again, matter just contains my front matter, my back matter, and all the others for D1, D2, D3. That also, each folder also contains the cover and stuff as well, so it's all there if you want it. Well, it's not for you, obviously. If I want it, you can structure yours the same way, is what I'm trying to say. And then let's go into compile. And if we go to compile, we can select PDF, paperback, which is my preferred format right now. Obviously, for the mammoth version, that's going to have to be a larger physical footprint size, because physical like text block size, just because otherwise it's going to be a very wide book, which Amazon just will refuse to print for me. And they're the only people printing that I can afford. So you can hear I've ticked all these things. Now, the difference here is when you get to the bottom, matter's going to be ticked. Is matter not? Matter's going to be ticked. So we'd want to untick matter and everything inside matter for a start. And there's not a lot else to do on structure. Now, I've got all my scene selections and stuff done there. And the only thing we would do is we'd add front matter, and we would collect front matter, and we would add back matter, we select back matter, and then we would have our structure basically done. And we're going to set our compile entry point as main folder. Now, if we want to compile an individual book, we can just literally change our entry point here, and that all of a sudden that's our new entry point. Or we could just go like, I want my new entry point to be the second one. Now I can export just the second one. But by exporting the whole lot together, the entire manuscript, Scrivener does something really smart, which we're going to talk about next. I've got exported. Now, this took literally, now I'm on an M2 with 16 gig of unified memory, and it took a little bit longer than I would have actually expected, which sounds like silly, but you'd think text are just done, exported. But it did take I even got a progress. I didn't know Scrivener did this, but I got a progress bar where it told me the page count it had done. And this document's over 1,000 pages. Obviously, it's like 4 novels. 5, well, 2 of them are part written, but anyway, it's multiple novels, so you would expect it to take a long time. But you actually get a progress bar, which is pretty cool. I'm not going to do it now because my CPU just pins out, really. So when we've exported, and again, if you want tips on compiling in Scrivener, that's really something for you to look at. What I tend to do is I tend to export, when I'm actually ready to export, I like to export the whole thing as a Word document, and then I import it into another tool for preparing it. You could use Valium, you could use Atticus, which is, but overall you've got options. And let's have a look at the export here. We've got, and I probably shouldn't use my mouse because it makes rattly sounds on my desk. Let's use my trackpad here. Let's have a look at the document itself. Now, here's the document. As you can see here, this document here is, how big is it? Let's have a look. How big is the document here? How big is it? It's all of those are 3.8 meg, so it's not a huge document. There's a lot of processing involved to export it, but it's not a particularly huge document. Let's get rid of that now. And here we go. Now, there you go. There's your title page. Now you can do things with your compilation, so you can have an image there. You can do lots of things with your compilation to make sure you get looking the way you want. But it's a very dirty export. See if it worked. This is what we've got. We've got the page 1 here. Let's make this a bit wider. Let's make this a bit wider. So I'm going to look a bit wider so we can see it a bit better. Not that it's zoomed in. I just feel like it looks nicer. It fills the space. We've got number 1 here. Now we didn't do any front matter. So on this export, I didn't do any front matter. I just did what I showed you, a dirty export. And there's a lot of pages here, 1,070 pages right now. So there's echoes that goes to the title of the first book. and then you'll see inside it is the heading for the individual chapter. Now again, because it's a standardized export, I didn't give chapter numbers. I prefer to go chapter blah blah blah, title of the chapter. I prefer that, and I do sort of intro text on some of them as well, which again isn't in this version of the document. But if I scroll down to page 313, which sounds like a joke, but it's not in this ridiculous document, 313, we just keep going. Oh, where are we at? 188, 200. Okay, just keep scrolling, keep flicking. This is actually easier on a mouse. 313. Again, we've got our chapter headings. There's another chapter heading there. Okay, chapter 313. Where are we? I should have probably have bookmarked this, shouldn't I? Yeah, 301, 309, 10, 12, 13. There we go. And there in 313. I don't know what that's doing there. Look at that. Good job, Apple. Good job. I scrolled too fast and it got confused. Right here, 313, we've got the name of the next novel. So there's the last bit of the first book, and then the first page of the next book. And again, inside here, we've got the nest of title page, and then we've got the prelude in this case, and then the first chapter. It works basically flawlessly. I was very surprised. I thought it'd take a lot more setup than this, or I'd have to export them all separately, then use a third-party tool to bring them all in. But this has worked basically flawlessly without any problems, other than obviously the weird crash that this is. What even is this? What even? Can I fix it? I fixed it by scrolling really fast. Good job. But yeah, I was really impressed with how, and this is just the automatic structure, right, in Scrivener. This isn't like I've actually done anything mad. This is just the automatic export here, the automatic configuration, because you can tell it how you want these laid out. You can tell it how each thing should be laid out, what it's to do, but I just left it all on default and it's worked absolutely fine. Scrivener's really good, is my message here. Scrivener's really, really good, and you should definitely look at using it. And I'm shocked that it works so well with the sort of collected volume export here. And even though I've said, you can use other tools like Valium or Atticus, I'm probably going to use Scrivener for my export. It takes a little bit of tweaking to get it looking exactly how you want it. And if you actually look into the compiler settings, if you actually bother looking in here, and you start assigning layouts and tweaking sections, there is just a ridiculous amount of options you can get in here. There is so many ridiculous options. Where are they? Do I have to fork it? Do I have to fork it and then edit it? Oh, copy of proof copy, script screenplay. Oh my gosh. Let's see if we can get in here. Assign selection layouts. There we go. You can go in here. You can tweak this, and then you can. There's so many settings you can get into in here. I don't know. There's actually the whole chapter thing. I don't mess with this a lot. I really don't. I don't mess with this a lot, so I'm not very savvy with it. Which probably explains why I'm so incompetent. But yeah, there's a lot of settings you can do on export. There's a lot of things you can do tweaking the export here. When you assign a selection here, you can click on a section here that actually customize that section. There's so much you can do inside Scrivener that I'm just really bad at and cannot explain to you. Because the reality is I only export from Scrivener when I've got a novel done, when I'm ready, the last thing I ever do with it. So I've done it like, 7 times or something, it's something I'm not particularly deep into, whereas the usage of general Scrivener is something I'm much more savvy with, much more able to tweak and able to tell you about. Well, here we go, I found it. Formatting, is it output options? I don't know. Let's see if I can find selection type. No. There's some way in here where you can just tweak all them extra settings anyway to make sure it exports. I'm probably doing it wrong as well. But yeah, there's another menu. You'll find Scrivener's got so many. There's menus inside menus in Scrivener. You should definitely check it out. And also, if you're using Scrivener a lot, you should definitely take the time to customize it. I think I've said this before on videos. Take the time to customize it. Get familiar. Like I like typewriter scrolling, but I don't always want it on, so I put a button here. I want my dictionary up there. I use bookmarks quite a lot. There's the compose mode, which is the full screen mode. The script mode I've sometimes switched to. There's so many things in Scrivener that are just sort of hidden. Scrivener's great. I would say that weirdly, the Mac version of Scrivener is so much better than the Windows version, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It's the same application. Anyway, at this point I'm rambling. Hopefully you've enjoyed this little chat about exporting Scrivener files, and it's been of at least some value for you. So hopefully I'll title this video in a way that makes sense. Thanks for watching. hexdsl.com if you would like to read my bloggy post stuff. Bloggy post? What? Maybe I should rename the section. Bloggy posts. If you want to read my articles and stuff, you can go to xdsl.com. And if you would like to read my books, you can read actually some of my work wholesale on there. I've put a couple of my short stories, collections and stuff right on the website where you can read. There's a little bit of navigation there to find them, but I'm sure you'll figure it out. Thank you for watching. I've been XDSL, and goodbye.